Before I actually get into this commentary, I have to give a shout out to Light Visions for sending me this story because I'm gonna be honest, I did not know this story existed. And this story happened or started to let me rephrase it. This story came out about a month ago, but the update for it came out like yesterday or 2 days ago from the time of me recording this video, which is November 21st, 2022. So you see this picture right here of this individual by the name of Rasheem Ryelle Carter. This is actually a picture from his missing persons poster that I'm assuming the family had put together when they were looking for him. Now, apparently last month he went missing. Early October, he went missing and his family hadn't heard from him. And now fast forwarded over a month later, they have found some remains that they are assuming, at this point it's assuming, they haven't really locked in whether it is him or not, that the remains that they found, and these are skeletal remains, so that means that this is decomposition, could possibly be him. But of course, you have to run it through forensics and all types of stuff like that to determine if the DNA is a match that it is him. But they're assuming that it's him because of the location in which these remains were found, and they're basically linking or trying to say that where he was assumed to last be at is the same place these remains are at. So they're saying this possibly it could be him. And the story goes is that he was being stalked by some PC man. He went to the police and said that he was being stalked by this person. They didn't believe him, even though he went there and practically begged and pleaded with them to look into this because this person is stalking them. And now he's assumed to be dead. But I'm going to go ahead and read this article that's coming from this website called whereisthebuzz.com that was posted November 19th, 2022. The family of a 25-year-old black man named Rasheem Ryelle Carter is seeking answers after his skeletal remains might have been found a month later after being reported missing. Carter was last seen outside a Super 8 hotel on October 2nd in Laurel, Mississippi. The alleged remains of Rasheem Ryelle Carter were found in a wooded area in Taylorsville, Mississippi. His family claims he got stalked by an unknown white man in Taylorsville, the same city he worked. They even said before he went missing, Carter went to the Taylorsville Police Department to inform them that there were men after him and that he feared for his life. Sadly, the police department allegedly rejected him. Carter told his mother if anything happened to him to start investigating in Taylorsville. He did speak with his mom, Tiffany, about a white truck and white males in there threatening to harm him. His cousin, Shonda Wright, told WLBT. As of right now, it has not been confirmed that Rasheem Carter's skeletal remains got found. His mother provided a DNA sample to help with the identification, and his alleged remains got sent to the state crime lab for an autopsy. Carter would leave behind a 6-year-old daughter if the remains are identified as him. Rasheem Ryelle Carter's family has created a GoFundMe page to help raise funds to seek justice for him and help with the financial stresses that have accrued throughout this process. That's scary to think that no parent would want to hear that their child remains have been found somewhere. That's not something that you would want to hear. Because every time I keep thinking about remains being found somewhere, we're always going to go back to stories like Emmett Till and so many other stories as well. I keep thinking also about that black man who was found out in the desert. His remains was out there and a couple of his organs was missing as well. And there was another one where it was a black man. He was found in a wooded area and he was left out there. His body was so badly decomposed, he literally turned gray. And I think his ear was cut off. So you keep thinking of different stories like that, and it's really sad and it's disturbing at the same time. But when I think about his location, I'm not surprised either. That just sounds like a place that is predominantly PC. I've never heard of Taylorsville, Mississippi. And what have I told y'all about these towns that end in burg and ville, especially in Virginia? Whenever there's a town out there that ends in ville and burg, a lot of the times those are some hick towns. Now, there is a place where I live at in this state that has a ville in its name closer to where I am, but trust, that's far from a hick town. Trust and believe me. I don't live anywhere near what would be considered a hick town, so I'm pretty much good on that part. But for the most part, any town that has a ville or a burg at the end of its name, a lot of the times it's a hick very PC looking town. And it probably has some sundown town vibes to it as well. And this was in Mississippi, the same place where the new welfare king is thriving at, the same place where in Jackson they have bad running water, that same Mississippi. We can only hope that the remains that were found were not him, but then it makes you wonder, if they're not him, whose remains do they belong to? But they are almost certain, from the way that this article is framed, that those remains most likely belong to him. And again, this goes back to the systemic thing too, because they said that he went to the police and practically pleaded with them to say help him because he's being stalked by these men. And they basically turned him away. If they listened to him and heeded to his begs for help, he would still be alive. But they didn't do anything. So if, as far as I'm concerned, if these remains do belong to him, they need to hold that police department that he went to that didn't do anything accountable for allowing this to happen, because they could have been the ones to stop it. All in all, though, I hope that the family does get justice, and hopefully they can confirm what their suspicions may actually be. And again, this is a story that happened back in early October, and we're just now hearing about it at the end of November. I bet you, if Rasheem Ryelle Carter was a PC male, we would have been heard about him without the shadow of a doubt. And the fact that these PC men were stalking, because the way they framed it at first, it sounded like one man, but then it went into saying men plural, as in more than one, makes you wonder, why were they after him? What did they really want from this man? Why were they stalking him? We have no clue who they are. It's still up in the air if the skeletal remains are his. And it's one big question mark after another when it comes to this story. It's so many questions and not enough answers, as far as I'm concerned. But that's the state of affairs of being black in America.